I'm Charlie Rose. The program is The Week. Just ahead, Clarissa Ward, who is just back from Cairo with an assessment on the crisis in Egypt.
To get rid of Morsi. But certainly the person who emerged as the figurehead for this whole coup was General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
And what do you think his objectives is? What is his end strategy? They talked at the beginning of this coup that what they wanted to do simply is provide a temporary period so that they could have a new democratically elected government. That looks a bit away if you look at what's happening in the streets today.
Absolutely. They've been emphatic that the military does not want to maintain power. The military ran the country before, and it was a disaster, and they came under a lot of pressure from the public to hand over democratically. So they've repeated over and over again that they want to hold elections as soon as possible and to get a civilian government running that country. At the same time, the crackdown that we are seeing on the Muslim Brotherhood and on its supporters does not in any way, shape, or form resemble democracy. And it's the same thing of they are very offended by the choice of the word coup. They say this wasn't a coup, this was an extension of the revolution. Well, I'm sorry, but from my vantage point as a journalist, and I think from many international observers as well, if you go in and depose the only ever democratically elected president in your country's history, and you then round up all the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood group that supports them, arrest them, shut down their TV stations, and then in the most brutal and bloody way go in and raze to the ground these protest camps where they had been camped out for over a month. I'm sorry, on what planet does that look like democracy?
With respect to where it is today, where is it going?
This is the question that everybody is asking themselves, and it's very difficult to make projections. I hear a lot of people talking about civil war, and I think that sort of language is a little bit dangerous and inflammatory. But these are certainly very dark days for Egypt. And the concern, of course, is that you're going to see young men who, have espoused the Muslim Brotherhood's policy of nonviolence, feeling disenchanted by that, feeling marginalized, and joining these radical Salafist and extremist groups that we've seen popping up more and more in the Sinai.
So what are the fears? I mean, give me the worst case scenario of what could happen. Not civil war, but a circumstance that worsens day by day.
I think the worst case scenario that you can see will be continued hunting down of Muslim Brotherhood supporters and leaders and affiliated Islamists, midnight imprisonments and torture. I think the worst case scenario is a return to the police state, which essentially we're already seeing. I hate to say it, the last time state of emergency. Does anyone else have deja vu of Mubarak? That lasted 30 years. So I think that's the worst case scenario, and that you see possibly an insurgency emerge.
Is it possible